Coming forward, I recall what happened to me 2 days ago on the road. So I was driving home from work, and this time my mind drifted away. Don't judge me, it happens to the best of us, okay? And I was in a hurry. Normally, when I'm about to cross Straight T Junction, I try to watch out for incoming vehicles before moving through. But because I was tired, I was worn out, I just drove through thinking that the coast was clear. And then I heard a speeding truck driving towards me with the brake screeching. Anyway, in the aftermath of me having this thought, I heard my colleague that was sitting beside me in the passenger seat asking me to comment on what was being said on the radio. And then I turned to him and I said, "Bro, I'm sorry, my mind drifted away. Can you repeat?" It may surprise you that this is not about my near-death experience. Neither is it about whatever was being said on the radio. It's about the fact that within the time I was lost in thought and the time my colleague called for my attention, I had driven home correctly in the right direction. And it's called muscle memory. The ability to repeat a particular movement without conscious thought as a result of frequent repetition of that movement in the past. So I've driven home 1,001 times and I could drive perfectly to my house even when my mind is absent. So ladies and gentlemen, you are what you consume. And by consumption, I mean anything or activity that your being is exposed to. It becomes you. So you naturally becomes your environment, what you watch and see. Anything that you are exposed to consistently becomes you. So the key word here is exposure and consistency. Now, I refer to our brain having something called operating system. So we all have a particular operating system, and that operating system is installed inevitably by the continuous consumption, continuous interaction of your environment, what you watch, your routine activity. Anything that you do frequently affects you. And this is one of the reasons why it's very difficult to change our habits. Sometimes we make promises like, I have to start exercising more, or maybe eating healthy, or stop using curse word, whatever promise, right? And we find out that 90% of the time that never comes to fruition. And the reason is because we think that we can control our brain, but we can't. Our brain does not function that way. The only way it functions is based on what has been installed in it, and it just gives it out like that. If you understand that, then you would have to be careful as to how your being interacts with its environment. And this also can play in a different scenario. So the famous book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, basically said that if a person comes from a poor background, it's more likely that that person is going to end up poor. And the same thing, if a person comes from a rich background, it's more likely that that person is going to end up rich. And it's not because that rich person is maybe smart or intelligent, but there's this unconscious behavior that has been downloaded from parents to kids. And that behavior is based on the interaction that that kid has had, the environment, what the activity, the routine activity that the child has been brought up with. It becomes that child. But on the other hand, most poor people have this mindset of life is a struggle, Who do you think you are? You can't afford this. And if that has been your programming 99% of the time, then you will sabotage your life. One very scary thing to me is that every single day, your brain learns without your request. So I would say your brain is on automatic update. And if you know this, then you should be scared. You have to be careful and very intentional as to how you expose yourself. Who are the people you talk to every day? The area that you live matters. Your interaction, your engagement on your phone. There's a study that I read that said that young people engage in social media 7 to 8 hours every day. That is a huge amount of consumption. You cannot grow past what you constantly consume. So if you want to change your habits or you want to build a better future for yourself, you have to start by changing what you consume today. Those things.